And we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Learning Circles Hangout with myself, Brent Schlenker from Litmus, Craig Wiggins, and Enzo Silva. Why don't you guys go through and do an introduction real fast?
Hello, I'm Enzo Silva, Learning Strategist Instructional Designer for XAPI.
And I'm Craig Wiggins. I'm the Community Manager for ADL, Advanced Distributed Learning, and I'm an XAPI Evangelist. Okay, I have to drink. So.
You said it, XAPI.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man.
Come on, there was all sorts of great stuff that came out of the Learning Solutions, the XAPI meeting, so I think it's safe to say it's okay to talk about it.
Yes, and it's also safe to say that I have water in that cup, so I'm good.
Nice. Yeah, please.
So first things out of the way, because we have a lot of things I think we want to try and discuss or talk about today. This week has been full. You're right. I think Tuesday of this week, Tuesday, the 24th of March, was the inaugural XAPI Camp held on the campus of the University of Central Florida, put on by the Connections Forum. So that'd be Aaron Silvers, Dave Metcalf, in conjunction with UCF, and it looks like it was a really big success. I'm going to throw the link to the event. Actually, I'm not going to throw the link to the event in there. I mean, I could do that, but I'm going to throw a link to the Storify that I made of the event. I didn't get to go, and I was very salty about that, so I went ahead and made a Storify of the tweets that were coming out of the event. So hopefully that will be.
Yeah, it was good. Hey, Craig, tell me, what is your Twitter handle again?
Oh, sure. It's Oxala75, so that's OXALA75.
ALA. I always forget the number part.
Yeah, it's the year I was born. It's not, anything special. Other than the year that I was born, which is special in itself. I mean.
Well, obviously.
Wow.
75. Holy crap!
I know. Like my friends are, a lot of my friends are turning 40 this year, and we're like in the spectrum. I mean, this doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about today, but it runs the spectrum of reactions, I think, like how we feel about turning 40. So
I don't know how
I'm pretty good. I'm good with it. It beats the alternative.
Yeah, right. All right.
It beats being 30 then.
Yeah. If that is an alternative that you know about, Enzo, we need to talk after the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, good. We got one viewer loaded up. That's nice. Hello, welcome, one viewer.
Nice.
And I just tweeted it out, so good.
Wow.
So hope you guys.
Our audience just doubled.
Woo. Yeah, so it's all good. So we had any other news that we wanted to talk about real quick? Just kind of run down. LSCon's going on.
Yeah, well, I think I'm looking at the stream right now. It looks like it the keynote speak is either wrapped up or is wrapping up. I know a lot of people are already heading to the planes right now. But I've got a stream open right now. Looks like, there's
it's long since over. It always ends at noon, so it's 12:30 there right now. So yeah, they're all done.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, no, we just got a couple people. We've got a couple of tweets from people like sending out slides and things like that. But
yeah.
Oh, by the way, it looks like my writing partner David Lacroix is viewer number 1. So.
Oh, excellent.
He gets the dubious honor of being first.
Oh, wait, we have 2.
Why is he not joining live? He's shy.
Right.
That's a good question, David Lacroix. Why are you not joining live?
Yeah, ask him now.
Maybe we sent him the wrong link.
Oh, that's true. He really doesn't have a way to join live. You have to send him the link.
I wanted to, since you asked about news, I think I want to make sure everybody, not just in Atlanta, but around the world knows, in the U.S. mainly, probably, knows that Atlanta Conference and Expo for ATD is happening, and they're taking, not now, but they're taking submissions for sessions up until March 30th, I think. So if you look up atdatlanta.org and look there, you're going to find a submission link and all that. So it's a nice little conference here in Atlanta, Georgia. And I forgot when it happens, but it's later in this year. So.
Awesome. Yeah, ICE is coming up too in May, so we've got that going on.
Mm-hmm.
For anybody, I'll also give a quick shout out for the Litmus is part of Calidus Cloud, and they do the Calidus Cloud Connections Conference, which will be in May also.
Oh, man.
And yeah, we have a learning track this year, which is actually pretty cool. We're in no way competing with any of the larger style events, obviously, because it's mostly it's a sales and marketing, more geared towards sales and marketing, the larger audience. But I've always believed that learning plays a huge part across all of the different organizations and everything that happens. So it's an interesting mix. So I would highly encourage anybody to come attend, first of all, but I don't think there's any other event out there that will focus or give somebody the opportunity to hang out with a bunch of sales and marketing people and learning people. It's an interesting mix. And so if there's learning folks out there that specialize in training sales folks or are part of marketing, or and want to kind of see what that mix is like and be in the same location, it's interesting. It's interesting to see and to learn from the three different worlds that are brought together. So
where can people find out about it? How to sign up?
CalidusCloudConnections.com, I believe, is the URL. If somebody wants to pipe that in for me, let me just double check and make sure I'm not doing this wrong.
No, I've got it.
Craig got it. My computer is not working, so I can't do anything.
Yep, CalidusCloudConnections.com. So yeah, so that's my my plug for the day, but it's a good one. So any other news? We good to wrap up on the news?
Well, no, we got a bit more. So
okay, cool. Keep going.
The XAPI Camp just happened, and we got a bunch of people excited. There is, and this is for the people who actually care about this, which will be vanishingly few people. There is a specification that was started by AICC called CMI5. I'm not going to get into CMI5 right now. I'll do an explainer video, I think, at some point in the future. I'm really looking forward to that. But we are having a meeting here at ADL Alexandria in April about CMI5, and basically it'll be to help shape that specification. Some people have called it XAPI with rules, which is already kind of getting kind of into the weeds, but if people want more information, you can always contact me on Twitter, OXALA75, or you can just email me, craig.wiggins.ctr@adlnet.gov, and I'll let you know more about that. Or you can go to the link, and I'll put that in the chat really quickly once I get a chance to do that. But that'll be an interesting event. And in July of this year, we will be doing the XAPI Boot Camp that is put on by ADL. Myself, Andy Johnson, Tyler Mulligan, other people here at ADL will be putting on that event, and we will be talking about the state of XAPI and the projects that are currently being worked on during the XAPI design cohort will be presented at that event. So it'll be here in Alexandria, Virginia as well. It'll be July 14th and 15th, so it'll be Bastille Day, I believe. And I'll put more information about that up later. That's it for me.
Can you just let us know a little bit about the new AICC parameters there that you're talking about without your explainer video? I just want to know what it is all about.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and throw this in here because this might be helpful.
Don't throw it too hard.
I'm gonna break the iPad from here. Let's see.
My Mac is already broken.
There we go. All right, so there's a link there. So to kind of give you an idea, like CMI5 it sort of fills a gap of regarding interoperability and provides a model, sort of a bridge between the Experience API and some of the SCORM-like things that one does right now. So you can think of it as a profile for XAPI. I can talk at length about XAPI profiles in the future. That will take a long time. But CMI5 uses the communication layer in order to have the benefits of XAPI, but also combines the features of the AICC and the SCORM specifications. So that's really not a great explanation, but it's the shortest one I can do right now. So for people who don't know, AICC sort of ceased to be a short while ago, but the CMI5 project is being carried on by ADL, which is why we're hosting the event April 15th and 16th. We'll be holding here at the lab, and people can come, or people are welcome to come and sign up by following the link that I have there. I think there's a registration link on that page. People are welcome to come, sign up, and come here to Alexandria, and over a period of a few days, kind of help, hash out how that's going to work. So anyway, more information, contact me. I or some of my colleagues will talk until we're blue in the face about that specification.
Oh, how do we get free boarding and flights and all that?
I don't know. How do you get free boarding? Well, I guess. I mean, I have a basement. People can stay. No. If you go to the registration link, there's information, or the page that I gave you, the link that I gave you earlier. There is information about where to sign up, but also local hotels and whatever. So there will not be giving people free board. I don't think.
Welcome to the basement. That would be.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Or I mean, honestly, like I have a huge office here. People are welcome to bring sleeping bag. I'm not. I'll get a couch put over here. That's cool. I have space over here. I have space over there. There's a nice view of Alexandria here in the background. I mean, I honestly, I don't know. You couldn't do better. Is all I'm trying to say. You couldn't do better. So.
All right, guys. I'm actually periscoping our G+ Hangout right now. So.
Are you?
Yeah. We had 5 or 6 viewers. Now we're down to 3. So.
Actually, that's a really good. That is an excellent segue into something that Brent, you and I were talking about a couple times over the past week.
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple new apps came out, pretty popular. Last week during South by Southwest, we saw, well, maybe it was 2 weeks ago, we saw a new app, a streaming app come out called Meerkat that was kind of took South by Southwest by storm in the same way that Twitter did back in whatever year it was that Twitter took South by Southwest by storm.
Yeah, right.
And it was interesting, and I would just kind of watched and learned from some friends of mine that are social media marketing guys and gals, and looked like fun. So I jumped in and started checking it out as well, and then. Just this week at Social Media Marketing World, Twitter finally brought its streaming app live called Periscope. So we've got 2 apps now. So we've got Meerkat and Periscope, and it's been very interesting to watch and to see what type of content people are putting and how people are using these tools. And of course, my thought always goes to, all right, how do we use it for learning? How do we put this into the ecosystem, the learning environment, so to speak?
Right.
And I'm obviously I don't know. I don't think anybody really does, but it's
No, I mean there's honestly right off the bat. So let's back up a second. I can think of a couple ways in which it can be used, but I think the fact that you're thinking about that is sort of an anomaly. And the reason that that's the case is that, as you pointed out, I think a day ago when we were talking, is that the people in the social media marketing world were already kind of jumping on these apps right away. Whereas the likelihood, like no one, I didn't see a single person. No, that's not true. One person, I saw one stream come out of Learning Solutions. With using Meerkat, and it went down pretty quickly. I think the person was just like, "Oh, let me try this out," and they were in a speech. So the reason that there's a disparity, and the fact you're thinking about the fact is, the fact that you're thinking about it is an anomaly. The fact that there's a disparity is that the L&D community is not really quick to jump on this kind of thing. We were kind of joking before we went live that, like, in 2017 we'll be hearing people will be, looking at sessions, how to use Meerkat or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
What worries me a little bit is that this type of application, what are they solving that is really new? Beside like Google Plus, Google Hangouts have been here for a while. You
they
can do
have.
live streaming. Ustream has been out for a while. What is so new that we're jumping on board with these apps and getting all crazy about that we couldn't do before with them?
So
It's just like,
no, those are good questions. Those are good questions, Enzo. And
mhm.
actually, technically, especially when you look at Ustream, like the answer is technically really nothing. I think it's really the ease of use. It's single button like streaming. Like so, you can go from being at an event and holding up your phone, and with like two button presses, you will be streaming live and be providing a platform for people not only to watch what you're doing or watch what you're streaming, but also comment on it using an existing platform. So, like, basically tying into Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think,
It's all ease of use, right? It's not
yeah,
like this technology hasn't been here
yeah.
before. Then this is the way it always works, right? It's like we've got enough technology right now, right? We've got everything we need. I can't even imagine anything actually new coming out. What's new that's coming out are just new use cases and people that have learned how to simplify an interface, utilizing existing technologies and whatnot, and so
Right, and when it becomes
Yeah.
simple, that's when you're actually. It's when things become simple is when you actually have people able to just use it and experiment with use, right? Okay, so for example, you could put videos up and do like short videos and upload them and stuff, very easily with YouTube for a long time. Well, relatively easily. You still had to have the equipment, you still had to do blah blah blah. The reason Vine took off the way it did is that it allowed you to shoot and edit videos and make them available to people in a very short amount of time. So there's a certain type of video that's kind of where people are doing it for the Vine, that really leaps over the kind of gains that people made with YouTube because you're actually lowering the barriers to entry, and that's precisely what Periscope and Meerkat are. They're lowering the barriers of entry to live streaming. So,
Yeah.
as someone who thinks about experience tracking like a lot, this is really exciting to me. And from a educational or performance support or performance identification or analysis standpoint.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Now look at the use case of Hangouts, for example. Every week something happens wrong with our Hangouts, right? Somebody doesn't get the right link. We can't start it from the right account. It's like numerous errors that should be there.
You're absolutely right. And that's absolutely right. Like, you're right. That's a perfect. In fact, I hadn't thought about that, but that is the perfect example. Like,
everybody that I know that has tried to start a Hangout consistently, like week after week, they do it. They're not dumb people. I mean, we're not dumb people.
We are three smart people, and we can.
You may disagree there. If you disagree, chat. Post it in chat. But we can figure things out. But there's always a challenge. A link is broke. Something happens, and I totally agree with you that not only are these applications building on an existing user base, so people don't have to most of the time sign up for another Google Plus Hangout account, yet another account to be able to access something. It's immediately available for them as a publisher, as somebody that's posting it, and somebody that wants to join. Click one thing, join, right?
Right.
And it's fewer steps. And not that we need to get into that discussion right now, but I'm always looking into, and many of us are in our field, right, on lessons learned from how other fields do things. Apply that to learning. I had a lengthy discussion a while back with a colleague about renaming e-learning something else. I'm like, my point of view is we do not need to rename the field or the modality, whatever you want to, because if it is different from what it was 10 years ago, it's a matter of evolution, right? The use cases are evolving, like Brent said. Technology is coming that is different. Needs are different. The way people collaborate at work is different, right? So it's just an evolution of e-learning. It's not that we need to name it something else. Same thing with these technologies, right?
No, I agree. I agree. Although, man, that would be. I think Brent said it. Brent, or maybe it was James Kingsley who said it a few weeks ago. Is that eventually we're going to stop talking about e-learning, just like we'll stop talking about m-learning, because just like we've stopped talking about horseless carriages.
I don't think so.
No?
I don't agree with that. I think there's still going to be a clear distinction. What I think is the difference, what's going to disappear are different modalities of e-learning, because all of a sudden the whole need for mobile first and all that doesn't need to exist anymore, because things are intercompatible more easily.
It is what it is.
So yeah. But e-learning, I mean, there's a clear distinction between online learning or technology-mediated learning and classroom-only learning, right? I mean, whether you're talking about blended and other stuff, that's a different case. But there's always going to be the e-learning or online learning or computer-based learning, whatever it is that we're calling it. We are going to need that distinction.
Yeah, I don't know. I think at some point the technology will just become transparent in life and how we do it, and it'll just be the way that you do it. It's like, I'm going to go to school, which means dialing up something on your computer, or I'm going to be chatting with my coach today. Oh, and it's just going to be assumed that you go do that at your computer or in a space where you do it. You know, I mean, I don't know. I think the distinction between the two, I think it has to change. I think so over time, it just. And maybe it's just the classroom, maybe it's the term classroom, or some of those older terms that are associated with what learning and used to be. Maybe that goes the way of the horse and buggy and the carriage, and everybody does just talk about it as online learning, and that's it,
right.
Because it's online. And I don't know. I mean, to me, it's always the most frustrating thing is the semantics of everything that we argue about. It gets, we call it different things, and everybody wants to kind of take ownership for coming up with a new name of something and all that, and it doesn't really matter, It doesn't matter what we call the stuff that we do. I mean, in my opinion, all content that's online has the potential to be learning content. So, somebody can learn something from anything that's out there just by seeing it. It could be something that you learn, right? Whether you wanted to learn it or not, in some cases it doesn't really matter. The whole serendipity of learning thing is pretty powerful. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's always been something I've been thinking about. So. Yeah,
it's like the whole discussion we had on MOOCs, and we keep on having is, are they really new? It's an evolution. The LMS is evolving. It's not just compliance anymore, and we just go with that. Renaming things not always is beneficial. Then you can even have a cohesive conversation without having to explain what you're talking about before you're talking about it. And Brent is reading something.
Is he?
He's learning something, I guess.
He's learning something.
Sorry about that. No, I'm trying to multitask. I'm chatting with the folks that are. I switched over to Meerkat because Periscope.
Are there people?
Are you kidding me?
Periscope went to 0, and so I switched over to Meerkat because Meerkat automatically tweets out that you're on, and so people see it, and all they have to do is click a link.
Right. Again, although one of our viewers. David LaCroix, by the way, that's how you pronounce his name. I was wrong. He was saying that Twitter sort of booted Meerkat out of their social graph, basically, and I guess because Periscope, Twitter had just acquired Periscope, so Meerkat is a competitor to them. In a way.
They did the same with TwitPic, right, and stuff like that. You get. They see that the application, which is a little unfair, they see the applications work, and they go and steal it and make it native.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're gonna build an application based on somebody else's, you kind of just have to expect that, right?
You're right.
And
be creative with your use cases and your business case, right? And come up with something else.
Yeah.
Evolve
absolutely. It. So, all right. So, what else are we talking about today?
You had a challenge for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just jump into that. There's a rough segue, huh? We got to get better at that. We're pros. Come on.
I'm feeling quite challenged today. Speaking of challenges.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of challenges, Enzo.
That was horrible. Oh man,
like
that improv class did not work.
Hashtag facepalm.
Right.
Oh yeah. So all right. So let me share my screen or share this real quick. See if I can get this going. But I will intro this with kind of what you and I discussed, what the three of us discussed before we went live. Just this idea of giving people an opportunity to take some existing content that's old, right? It was, and how do we turn existing content into e-learning content based on what we know today, right? So let me just take a few minutes and just kind of set the whole stage for this. Am I sharing it? There's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
There. Is everybody seeing it?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. All right. So I posted this blog post, and anybody. First of all, I did not post the link on the blog post. I should go back and edit that to where you can get the video, but I put the video up on a Dropbox account.
Okay.
And so anybody can go there and download the video. Basically, do whatever you want with it. I created this video as a young kid in undergrad. It was a final project for a video editing class, and my roommate.
They had video cameras back then?
Yeah. Well,
no, what they were doing is they were just taking stone tablets and actually etching it.
Yeah, we were
a laborious process, but
yeah, and it was only 3 frames per second.
Right. Many scribes died in the making of this video. So.
That's right. So it was actually on VHS tape with 2 big, giant, top-loading VHS machines connected by an editing controller. So it was cool to me at the time because I had never worked with anything like that. So I got really into it while I was there, and it was good for me because I was so challenged as far as being able to focus through school. I kind of wanted to learn everything, and I finally found something that I could dial in my focus and get kind of excited about. And so this was it. My roommate Scott is one of the hosts in this particular show, and his friend, they both majored in herpetology. So they were into reptiles and amphibians, and so I went out with them one day and videotaped them doing their research studies on the Nematophorus sonore, which is the Arizona whiptail lizard. And so we were out on the hunt for whiptail lizards, but in the process ended up finding all sorts of cool stuff. So there is a Crotalus atrox, which is the diamondback rattlesnake, which we ran across, and I got some great footage of that guy. And then, of course, there's this horned-toed lizard and a whole variation of other lizards. But the thing is about this particular challenge, if you will. Maybe I shouldn't have called it a challenge. Maybe that scared people away. I don't know. But the idea is just this, right? There's lots and lots and lots of learning content out there. I wanted to offer up some free content to everyone and say, look, here we made some educational stuff. Well, for the first point is this. It doesn't take a degree to make learning content, in my opinion. And we made this video. None of us were instructional design experts. None of us really, knew. I was still new to video editing. This was one of my very, very first projects that I did. So in storytelling, so I was just going off of what I remember seeing on TV when I was a kid growing up, what I liked, and how I thought it should be done. And so we ended up with this video, which I think was pretty good. And I think if you watch it, it's only 8 minutes. If people take some time to watch it, there is a link to the YouTube on this blog post. So actually, if I scroll down, you'll see it right there. And you can go and watch it. It's just, like I said, it's just 8 minutes. But I don't know. I think you might learn something new. But anyways, so the challenge is this: how do you take existing video content, like something like this, utilize everything that we know today and all of the tools that we have at our disposal, which is our toolbox has expanded significantly. How can we take something like this and create something different using our instructional design sensibilities now, you know, with all sorts of new content out on the web? You know, I'll start by offering up some ideas, and then you guys give me one. So the first thing I did was I went ahead and I installed this video into a video module in Litmus, and I created a course out of it. Haven't created the quiz yet. Right. But the second module I created in it was a link to the Wikipedia page on the location of where we were at, which is called Huerfano Butte. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but and it's actually there's actually some interesting history behind this location where we shot all of this, and of course you'll learn about it in the video. But you know, this idea that wow, we've got all of these other things now besides a video like this. You can go to Wikipedia and extend your learning on it, you know, and there's other things. So that's kind of my challenge to everyone. I'm giving this away freely. Everybody take it, do what you want with it, make it funny, make it silly, do something crazy. I mean, it's up to you. I don't mind one bit. It's like I said in the blog post, it's a 25-year-old video, and looking back is kind of nostalgic for me, but I also see the things that I could have done differently and see how learning, you know, has, you know, how technology and media has changed over the last few years. Yeah. So that's my big rambling speech on that. What do you guys think?
Well, I've got like two solid ideas seeing it right now. Actually, I'm going to let Enzo go first, though.
All right. Mine are probably not as solid. So I think one thing we need to talk, and not right now, but we need to clarify when you say we don't need a degree to create instructional content, right? That might offend some people, and that's not our goal. But we need to expound on that a little bit. A second one is I have a specific example of something that I did 3 years ago or so while at Success Factors, that we were training our salespeople on how to deliver our basic pitch there, right? So first thing that we did was I was given an exemplar video of somebody that was an expert at doing that. I recorded at a conference, you know, somebody, an internal guy that was like the wizard of giving our elevator speech. So I got that video and I segmented it into smaller chunks, and then using an authoring tool, I created sentences and questions where the learner is having to answer certain questions or read a scenario and how would you respond now? And some questions were the best answer, some were not so good, and some were completely wrong. Depending on what they chose, they would get a gauge on the screen that showed how correct they were. And then they were shown the expert responding to that question, you know. So basically I retro-engineered the video into a scenario where you get to perform and then you get to see somebody else performing it and you compare the performance. So that was a simple one that I did in like a couple of days, reusing video.
Huh. It's funny. I'm hearing you say that, and I'm thinking like, I'd love to see that, but I'm sure that's something that was in like you can't share that. Or
I wonder. I should ask my manager what she thinks.
Yeah. Well, very obviously, mine are associated with the Experience API. So hold on.
Drink again.
So, although one of them is, and the other one is not. So, the first one that I would offer, the first idea that I would offer, would be something akin to what is listed in this particular article from Rusticy Software, the people who work with the Tin Can, with the Experience API. They call it Tin Can. So there's been a lot of progress lately in working with the Experience API and video. So basically tracking what people are doing while watching video. So you can actually let's say if you embedded a video within, say, a MOOC, or if you had just had them as standalone items on YouTube, you could track what people are actually doing in the video. So if they're stopping, if they're starting, if like, you know, reams of people are going over the same patch over and over again, or no one is watching past minute 1 of a 10-minute video. You're wondering, like, are they getting everything they need and they're fine, or is this so mind-numbingly bad that they're like, this is no. You could track stuff like that. If it's within a MOOC, you could actually do things like you could also get triggers that would give you information about, you know, if people upvoted things, if they, you know, or rather they liked things, if they commented. And you have that information streamed in conjunction with the information about the experience of the video. You could then, you know, pull this up another level where you're looking at, you know, are people trying to use the subtitles? Or are they looking for subtitles? Are they clicking the button to make it so you're watching later? That kind of thing. Or, you know, so are they watching the next video in the series right away? Or are they doing something? Or is everyone, if you have a card embedded in that YouTube video, is everyone clicking that card and going to that resource, or is no one doing it, or are only a couple people doing it? Are people from a certain part of the world doing it? If you made this available in Spanish, how many people, you know, what percentage of people are actually using that kind of thing? So that's one way you can do that, use that video. And that's sort of, you know, I'm not sure how e-learning that is, but that's really extending the possibilities of the learning experience, or at least understanding what's happening when people are interacting with video.
Right.
So that's one. The other one is is basically the concept of a situated documentary. So I'm going to go ahead and post this link for Aris, which is one of my favorite things, even though I am someone who works with Android, so I don't get a chance to use this really for anything that I might use. But Aris is a platform for creating, let's see, what would you call it? I would say situated learning experiences. They tend to be. It's a platform for creating games, among other things, but they're bounded by geography a lot of the time. So you could actually have, I think a really good example is the game Dow Day, which is on the campus of University of Wisconsin in Madison, I believe, where you go from like building to building, you know, and it actually knows when you get to a certain place, and it will start playing video, or it will start, or, you know, you can do something with some other media there. So you can actually have a situated documentary in the place where you were finding these, where you were finding these animals. And, you know, if this was in a park, or if this was on a path or whatever, you could actually, once you get to a certain point, it could then play, you know, they could either report that they're at that place, or it could automatically do that due to either QR codes or geolocation input, and then basically say, all right, well, this is where we found the snake, and then show the video at that time from back when you did that at that point. Actually just dice the whole thing up and actually make it, you know, use the idea of geocontextuality to give people a sense of like the habitat for the wildlife that you were encountering, and then any other information. So yeah, those are the kind of learning experiences. So I'm not sure if that's really e-learning, right? But these are learning experiences that actually make them the most of video. You know, actually put it in the context of where you shot it.
Yeah, you know what, I kind of knew you were going to go there with all that kind of cool stuff. I love the idea of ARIS and the ARIS games and that type of experiential learning and whatnot. You know, that's always been very cool to me. Unfortunately, I've never had the opportunity to get my hands on it and to test it out or to try it or whatnot. But
no, so it's funny. It is really funny that you say that, because I'm not a big resolution person. I think, you know, you should just do stuff. But I thought, okay, I'm going to start. I have my writing colleague David LaCroix to thank for this. He suggested we basically meet weekly to write, you know, basically to review writing that we're doing. But we decided to switch it up to basically challenging each other to learn things. So I have a list of things that I am set to learn this year, and one of those things is working with Aris. So I've set myself that goal to actually do that. In fact, I should share that link with you guys. Yeah, hold on. I'll share it with you right now. And I'm sorry, Enzo, I know you can't see this because you're on an iPad, but I'll make sure that we get all these links before we sign off, so that we can put them out on YouTube. In fact, I really should do that right now anyway.
Cool. Yeah, do that right now, and I'll just jump in while you're getting those links tied up there. So You know, we're at about the 12 minutes after 10 mark, so just to give us a quick time check. Thanks for all of the great ideas, right? And this is an interesting little segue into one of these other thoughts that I've been pondering for a while, and this idea of you know, in the programming world and in the design world, and it all started apparently in the architecture world, but this idea of design patterns, right, and being able to copy the different patterns. And this is really what I'm actually going for, to be honest, with this video, and seeing how people put stuff together and create a learning solution. The idea that I know we share templates for authoring tools, right? We share templates for PowerPoints and things like that, but I want us to step up 1 or 2 or 3 levels higher at that strategic sort of design level, and start looking at what are the design patterns that we use, right? I blogged about this also a few months ago, I guess. But just this idea of, okay, here's a pattern, right? Somebody puts in a module that's got a PDF file in it. The learners click the module, they read the PDF file. When they're done reading it, they go to the next module. The next module is a quiz. They're quizzed on what they read in that PDF file. If they pass, they're done. Okay. Maybe not such, you know, not the most groundbreaking instructional design, but that's okay. It's a pattern. It works. I see it out there a lot, and a lot of, you know, people don't really tend to mind, right? People like to read. You know, people will sit down and read if it's something that they need to read. So could that PDF then be converted into something better? Yeah, probably, absolutely. But if that fits the need temporarily, then it's okay. So I don't want to put any value judgments on these patterns, because I think that's where we all tend to get hung up in conversations. It's a pattern. It exists. There's reasons for it. There's reasons why you would want to do it. So there's tons of patterns like that. So Enzo's example of doing the, you know, taking a really long video, splitting it up into shorter segments, in between each segment putting a quiz, that's a pattern too, right? So, you know, we can log that. I mean, what you're talking about, Craig, is a pattern, you know, using RS Games and doing a physical experience at the location where the video is shot. Okay, right. Great. Let's log that as a pattern, right? And then this takes us out of that world of is it good or is it bad? Is it right or is it wrong? And gives us all the ability to just share in a very authentic, unique way that is valuable, right? And it's not so judgmental. It feels like our industry gets very, very judgmental about the types of learning content that exist out there, and it's always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. If there's one thing that I've learned more than anything else in my 20+ years in doing this, is that, you know, there's 1,000 different ways to skin a cat in the training world. For every type of employee and personality, and every different type of company, there is a different type of training solution. Different budgets, different types of managers, different types of executives, different types of cultures. There is a reason in some place or another for any particular design pattern to fit, and we talk about it at our events and in blogs and things like that with such a myopic view that it gets to be, you know, oh, that's bad, you know, or you shouldn't do that, or, you know, we gotta up our game and get better at this. You know, we're instructional designers. We need to be better than this. I see that phrase a lot, and it's like, you know what? Maybe we don't. Maybe there are certain instances where good enough is good enough, and it's fine. And those smaller, easier solutions are just part of an iterative process where that is solving the business need immediately, but then you work towards improving it and making it better. What are your thoughts? You're on mute.
I am on mute.
There you go. We get caught we get caught in the whole judgment type of deal, where a lot of the people in the learning field, they do feel that they're better than others and start judging that that button is on the wrong place, or this couldn't be done that way, or that color pattern just doesn't work, or people just don't learn this way. People learn in so many different ways, in so many different situations, with so many different people and needs and all that. We cannot say people just learn this way, this way, this way. And maybe a solution for your video there would be just a simple taking all your key points that you're saying in the video and turning them into a little document, a little job aid, or an infographic, or just adding call outs to bring out the main points on the screen. As you mention them, boom, here appears. It doesn't have to be the most amazing thing, Hollywood production every time. And I think every instructional designer or instructional or learning team tends to get in that, often it has to be amazing, and it has to look like something that came out of Hollywood. And even when you're talking about the entertainment industry, there are so many ways to do one thing, like you're just saying, like, so many different ways to interpret Shakespeare, for example. How many takes have you seen on movies based on Shakespeare plays? Everybody brings in their own different experiences, their own design patterns, and all that kind of stuff. So I think people should be in our field should be freed up to, yes, I'm just doing a little job aid because that's all we need for this one. We don't need any big production for this, and we need to step up and say that when the situation calls for it.
Damn it, I keep muting myself. No, I absolutely agree. Actually, I'm not going to add anything to this. You guys have actually covered my thoughts on the subject.
So here's just a quick question, Google Plus thing. So once I put my screen up, now I have to manually switch between, instead of it recognizing our voices and doing the auto switching that it normally does. How do I get back to the auto switching?
I think you click your name again. Right now you're logged in as Learning Circle, so click that box and it should uncheck it. Hopefully.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. There.
Okay. Thank you. I thought I tried that. I don't know. Maybe not.
It really.
Meerkat does better.
Just as a sort of a administrative thing, and maybe this kind of goes to what Enzo was talking about at the beginning, or earlier on about how difficult it's been to work with Google Hangouts, even though they seem like a really good solution to things. One, in the links for today, I included a link to something called a peer in, which a friend of mine had been asking for. An alternative to the Google Hangouts, and Peer-In is a really good one. It's not going to serve our needs, but it's one of those things, like, a lot of people are looking for just like a simple way to video connect. They don't want to mess around. That's been the best one that I've found so far, although there are probably some other ones. But the other thing is, there's been some talk, or it was announced recently that I think photos, like, basically Google Plus is going to lose some of its components very soon. Like,
maybe not lose it. Maybe I think they're just splitting them up.
Right, exactly. I'm sorry, they're not going away. But I think Hangouts, for example, are going to, in particular, they're going to be disassociated with Google Plus accounts, meaning that you won't have to have one, or know someone who has one, or have a Google managed account to run or have one. And I think the reason they're going to do that is, well, two reasons. One, it's been a pain in the butt, basically, to make sure that, you have to have a Google account to manage it, and if you don't, you need to use that, especially if you have a work account that's not Google managed or not Gmail managed, then it becomes a big thing. The other thing is, I think they're probably going to take the opportunity to change the way that you interact or that you manage Hangouts, because this, I'm not particularly entrepreneurial minded per se, but even I can see that this is a huge business opportunity. To improve upon the Hangout experience, and I can't imagine that there aren't companies that are really coming for them.
Yeah, well, it's definitely value add. I've always been a big fan, but like we've been saying, it's just the interface sucks, and it's hard to figure it out. And if they can split up all of, I understand why they tried to bring it all together under one G+, and that was their attempt at making it a lot easier for people to jump around between their different tools, right? And I get it, but in doing so, it got way too clustered. When you have multiple accounts, it's hard to tell when you're in one account's page versus somebody else's page. If they just made it very clear and could segment all of those apps, which it sounds like they're doing, and then you could be logged into one under one login and logged in under the other one under another login, and have them as separate entities or have them as combined and connected. You know, I think that's where it's going to start to get good. So I think I hear a lot of people going, yes, Brent, you know, you like G, you're one of those people that like G+, and see, it's going away, it's not as great, you know. Bleh. I get that a lot, and it's just like, no, it's not going away. It's just they've looked at the data, they've looked at what went well, they've looked at what didn't go so well, and they're working on a solution to fix it. And I think pulling all the pieces apart and mastering each one of those individually first and getting them right, and then figuring out how to connect them, I think is a great direction to go. Not that that's the reason. I don't know. It makes sense to me, but maybe there's a different reason for it. But you know, I look forward to it. I don't think they're going to get out of the game altogether. Not a chance. I mean, it's valuable.
It is valuable, and you know, a lot of people are making good use of it. It's just, for a lot of people, it's not as turnkey as it could be. But anyway, that's I have more to say on the subject, but I don't want to go too much on that. By the way, David LaCroix brought up an interesting point as we were talking. He was like, "Hey, where are these links that you're talking about?" And so they are. I guess he was scrolling. I guess they're at the bottom. But they're. I made a post already on the. I guess the event page for this Learning Circles Hangout.
Cool.
So I've got one there, and I'm going to post an additional. I'll make an additional post after we're done. With the additional links that we have, or maybe
I think we should post it under the actual video recording once it's live.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
Going back to the events, I doubt people will find it with all the events that are there.
That's a good point. I think I'll do that actually. I'll do that right now.
Yep, just copy paste. It's an easy way to just do kind of the quote unquote the show notes
and the video description. And I think we should probably wrap today. I hope people take on the challenge that is not a challenge to create.
Honestly, I may. I mean, not to overload myself. I may add this to my list of things to do. Yeah. Brent, go ahead. Make sure though that you give people the link if you.
The Dropbox link. Yeah. Well, here's the other thing too. Like, it's up on YouTube, right? And there's 101 different how to download a YouTube video tools out there. So I just assumed people would do that, but then I remembered that a lot of people in our community really don't geek out on the tech side of stuff. So that's why I did the Dropbox thing. But I'll add the Dropbox link to the page. But let me just also clarify something else with the challenge. I'm totally open to just getting a text version of somebody's ideas too. I mean, I know some people are really going into it and downloading the video and spending some time to re-edit it and to cut it and to use an authoring tool and to really, build something. But I'd be really just interested in hearing people's thoughts, like how we talked about it today. What would be a good new solution with this content? Tell me about it. Shoot a little video of yourself talking about it, or just shoot me a note, right?
Text only, I guess text only note or comments there would work, right? Or maybe a design document on how you would build a learning experience based on that would be also cool.
Yep.
Or a job-based version of whatever your solution is. I don't think people should get hung up on the idea of making it amazing.
Yeah, don't take a lot of time.
Just a sample. Just do one screen or whatever it is.
Yep.
And it doesn't have to look amazing.
Yeah.
Well, the original already is like in 1980s quality anyway. With Brent's face in it.
It's retro.
It's retro. Right, it's retro. Yeah.
Indeed. All right. Was there anything else we wanted to
no, we'll meet again in 2 weeks, right? And I think people should join us live too, not just on chat.
Yeah. We'll need to. I think we may need to set that up in advance next time. We'll bring.
We always say that, and everybody gets busy, and this is fun. I think the three of us, we play off each other very well, and it's a good base group for us to start with for something like this. So, and every time that we've had guests, it's always been a hoot. So,
well, if we get Mel back from
she's really good.
Speaking
of challenges, and all she loves, that's all she blogs about is like taking something and turning it into something else. Like,
right.
Does really well with that.
Yeah, she really does. She's great. Well, we'll get her in as soon as she's back from Thailand or wherever her fabulous adventures have taken her.
I know. Making me jealous on Instagram. All right.
Yeah, I know, right? Right, good stuff. So, anyways, let's just go right back down the line then. So, Craig, why don't you just start with what you're up to, where people can reach you or connect with you?
Sure. So I'm still running the XAPI design cohort. In fact, I've got, I'm editing video over here for sessions that happened yesterday. Every Thursday we have a meeting. We just finished week 8, so we've got out of 14, so we're doing presentations, I guess gut check presentations right now for the different groups. We've got a couple groups we've got one group working on in a SharePoint and XAPI integration, which I don't have any favorites, but I'm kind of interested in that because I would love to see SharePoint rise from the dead.
That would be really interesting to see.
Right, exactly. Plus, we recently saw some really interesting an interesting learning record store with an analytics layer that shows stuff in a really interesting manner. I'll post a link to that actually in the show notes for this as well. But we've had a couple good ones actually, and I'm looking forward to seeing what comes of this, whether from a strictly design standpoint or prototypes. And people are going to show things. We're going to run out the design cohort, and then in July we'll have those people come to here. And then show things off. We're in the planning stages on it right now. Anyway, I'm not going to take up too much more time. If you have any questions, you can email me at craig.wiggins.ctr@adlnet.gov, or you can find me on Twitter at Oxala75, that's Oxala75, or you can just, you can find out what I'm thinking at least at the URL on the little card at the bottom of the lower third here. That's craigwiggins.github.io.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Enzo.
Hi. So here you can find me on enzosilva.com. I'm also on Twitter, Enzo F as in Frank, Enzo F Silva. You probably don't want to follow all my thoughts, but anyway, just follow me there, and I'll try to follow you back if Twitter lets me. And let's talk about instructional design. I'm really excited to see actually the field of instructional design and expanding, learning design and development expanding in Brazil, my native Brazil. So I actually created a very successful, very active group on LinkedIn for instructional designers there. That is, we have over 3,000 people there, which is a good number for Brazil. So. Whatever you guys are saying here,
for any country, you kidding me?
Whatever you guys are saying here, we're sharing there. It's very new as a field in itself there. That's why I say that. It hasn't been around long there as a solid field like it is here, as a solidified field of study. So it's very cool to see it evolving there as well. So I'm involved in that kind of stuff with the community there in Brazil. A few projects of mine that I want to get out this year. We'll see. And in the meantime, I'm also working at SAP. I'm volunteering with some stuff at ATD Atlanta, helping them with their social media there. So you'll find me around.
On mute, and I was chatting with the Meerkat folks while you were talking.
Wow.
Not like I was ignoring you or anything.
I feel so important now. Very nice.
No, but it's always good stuff. All right, so we're at the end of our. We've gone over by.
Not listening.
Yeah.
That's okay. We're done here, anyways. Darn it. But anyways, it's been fun. Another great hour of the Learning Circle. So thanks, guys.
2 weeks.
Tons of fun. We'll 2 weeks. We'll do this again. Everybody, take a look out on Google Plus or on Twitter, and we'll try to be better about promoting it and sending the links out too.
Yeah, not the day before.
Yeah, this is just a big test for everybody, and we're all just kind of learning as we go, and we're getting better at this with every passing one. So, thanks again, and you guys have a great couple weeks until we meet again.
All right.
See you guys.
Adios.
Ciao.